Welcome back to this edition of Grizzlies Daily. I'm your host Melek, and before we start this, I just want to say, if you see me hold the microphone like this, um, it's because I messed up my shoulder this year. So yeah, it might genuinely just sit like this the whole time. So if you see me holding the mic like this, don't think it's weird. It's literally just because I messed up my shoulder. So we gonna move past it and we gonna keep going on. So we got an update regarding Brandon Clarke's injury recovery. Now, good news and bad news. I'll give y'all the bad news first. I wasn't able to read the actual article because you have to pay for it. And I get that's how some people make their money, but I really hate that we have to pay for articles nowadays. But that's a discussion for another day. I'm not here to talk about it. Basically, Brandon Clarke, from what I got from what other people have told me, Brandon Clarke essentially he was, I believe, meeting. Yeah, his him and his foundation were at a basically we just say elementary school. It's like K through 8 school, and basically during that he kind of gave an update on his injury recovery. So what I got from it, from what people have told me, um, and this is from sources that were actually at the event, so this is like what Brandon told them. From what I got, Brandon Clarke essentially told them that he is nearing recovery. Uh, no telling on when exactly he will be 100%, but that is something to know. He feels that he's not totally 100%. I could be wrong, but this is what people who read the article told me. So, not quite at 100%, but getting very close to it. So good sign in that category. If I'm being honest, I'm not really. I've had my opinions on Brandon Clarke, and I'm not here to talk about my opinions on Brandon Clarke. I mean, it's great to have him back. It's just kind of sucks that he's hurt again because he essentially he takes a lot of time off due to these injuries, and that's something that hurts in the long run. Like I said, this is what I believe his third major injury in 4 years, I want to say. So it's not a good look for him, especially in the long run, especially if you're thinking about keeping a roster for the future. It's just something that I just think it's very difficult to really keep a hold of, but I could be wrong. So, I mean, we'll just have to wait and see. But other than that, it's good to see that we got an update from Brandon Clarke, and hopefully we get an update from others officially from the team. Just because a reminder, this was Brandon Clarke telling the media this at an event for his foundation. So hopefully we get an actual update from the team whenever it comes to other guys that we're waiting to get updates from. So switching gears. Um, so like I said, we've mentioned a lot of trade targets for the Grizzlies and who we could look for, or some ideas that other publications have said going forward for the Grizzlies. Obviously, we talked about the wing position. We've even talked about the guard position a little bit. But what I and other people think is that the Grizzlies, if there are any trades they make, I think it's strictly going to be in the category of the front court. And the reason I say the front court is because when you look at the guard position, I think really you may be like one player away from a very talented backcourt. But other than that, I think you're good. You have a serviceable backcourt. It's just a front court that I think really is gonna be the attention seeker for the Grizzlies, and rightfully so. So you got Jaren, who's recovering from injuries. You got Zach Edey, who's recovering from injury with no timetable on his return. You got Jock Landale, who hasn't played a game yet for the Grizzlies. And then you got Brandon Clarke, who obviously is making his way back, but he's coming back from a serious injury. So you really have to consider the fact that the Grizzlies, if there's a trade, I think it's easily going to be for the front court, because that's the area of weakness. I think we can all agree that's out of everybody on the team, that's an area of weakness, and it's a position that needs to be beefed up because out of every position, it's been the one that's been the most injured for the Grizzlies. So definitely got to look towards that. Obviously, we hope that Zach Edey and Jaren Jackson Jr. don't have the same injury problems, but it's just kind of hard to think that you can go an entire season without really addressing the issue and making it easier for these guys. So hopefully, if we do see a trade sometime next season, or this upcoming season, it'll be for front court, whether it's power forward or center, and they really beef it up. So that's just something that I wanted to clarify, because at the end of the day, what I'm bringing to y'all were things that other people are saying. My personal opinion, the front court, absolutely. I don't care for RJ Barrett. I would love a guy like Larry Markkinen if they found a workaround to it, but at the end of the day, the front court is key for the Grizzlies. So, in the last video, I told you all, leave your opinion on what you think the future for the Grizzlies looks like, and we got a few of them that I kind of wanted to go through. This is from Sylvester Williams, a loyal viewer, actually. Shout out Sylvester. He's always tuning in for these. He says it's difficult to say what the future will look like because decisions are being made that tips the future. I'm sorry, I can't read today. It's difficult to say what the future will look like because decisions are being made that tips the future look this way, and then the decisions tip another way. That is true. That is true, and I definitely do agree with that. 1 minute, 20, 21, 22, we looking at a potential championship contender, and then it all crumbled. Then 22, 23, same situation, it all crumbled. Oh, excuse me. But yeah, you got all these things happening, and the future is like completely shifted. So I definitely do agree with that. I think it's just more so, what do we want to expect from the team? I think that's probably what how I should have worded it. I do see a few comments regarding the fact of climbing. And I know there's a split belief between whether Kleiman is the guy and Kleiman's not. I will say Kleiman, I have my thoughts on him. I don't think he's a bad GM. Let's get that out of the way. I don't think he's a bad GM, but he could definitely be a better GM. There's no doubt he could be a better one. But future wise, I will say he has made some decisions that made me kind of question him. But it's never made me think, oh, he has to go, But I mean, if that's something the team chooses to move on from, then that's just how it happens. You just gotta really wait and see on that. When it comes to other comments, I believe that was it regarding the future. You guys have some opinions on the RJ Barrett trade, which I love to see. But that's all regarding the future. Yeah, I mean, Sylvester kind of summed it up pretty good. It really just depends on what happens next, and knowing this team, ain't no telling what happens next. Just got to be honest. All right, so with that in mind, before we wrap up, I feel like I've asked this question before, but I also kind of want to ask it again. Well, I actually want to answer it again. So this question: who could break out for the Grizzlies? Now, when I've answered this question in the past, I've said guys like Scottie Pippen Jr. I've even said Ty Jerome and even Cedric Howard. But to me, I think the guy that has the ability to really break out for the Grizzlies, if given the opportunity, I should clarify, if given the opportunity, I think potentially we could see a Cam Spencer breakout year. And what I mean by breakout year for Cam Spencer is we should look into the fact that he's going with an elevated role. I think he's going to make the most of that opportunity. I'm not going to say he's going to be he's going to become the perfect replacement for Luke Kennard, but he definitely has the potential to be that. I mean, we're talking about a guy who can make. He's got leadership for somebody who hasn't been in the league that long. He's got some toughness that I can't even imagine. He's got some toughness that you just wouldn't think that a guy like him has. And overall, Cam Spencer is a guy that, he's a winner. That's one thing you can't deny. Cam Spencer is a winner. So I think he definitely brings that energy that the Grizzlies are looking for, the talent that the Grizzlies are looking for, and overall, I think with an elevated bench role, he has that ability. Now, for breakout wise, I think he has him. Now, if you're talking about a guy who could be back on people's radar, I think you look back at it. I think you go back to guys like Gigi and Santi. Now, I say Santi because obviously, if y'all remember, and I've said it before, Santi kind of lost a little bit of the fan base with how he played in the playoffs and towards the end of the season. So he has to use his opportunity to essentially get back on people's good graces, especially with the contract that he got. It's not a crazy contract, but it's a contract nevertheless. So you gotta make it look like why the team paid you for a good reason. So that's something that Santi really has to look out for. And then Gigi, obviously, Gigi, he has some things that he needed to work on on the court, and hopefully, the team looks at that. He's putting in the work, and it really pays off in the court because I do want to see Gigi succeed. He has the potential. It's just some of these weaknesses make it hard for the team to play him, and maybe it's because of maybe it's different with Izolo's system, new coach, new system, and that's really what all this is based around. We don't even know what Izolo's system truly looks like. We got a good idea of it, but we don't know what it truly looks like. So that's just something we have to wait for the new season to start, and really just look forward to. So can't wait to see it. Like I said, hope Cam Spencer breaks out this year, and I hope he's not the only person that breaks out this year. That's just who I've been high on lately. So can't wait to see Cam Spencer hit the court and really, make an impact for the team like he did that one game against the Phoenix Suns where he was going back and forth with Kevin Durant, So hopefully we get to see that. But that's a wrap for this edition of Grizzlies Daily. I really don't got much for y'all. Like I said, hopefully we get some updates on these injuries because we need them. We need the clarity before training camp. So something that I'll be looking out for in the next episode. So if you like this one, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you get notified when we upload on Monday. And as for this edition, I'll be signing off, and I'll see y'all in the next one.